Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me See Me podcast, and I've got another wonderfully interesting person to speak to today. Today I'm speaking to Debbi Clark. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Stuart. Thank you for having me on your amazing podcast.
You're very welcome. We don't know each other. We've never met. It's a surreal thing of modern age, isn't it? Where you just connect with people on Instagram and that.
Yeah.
I'll briefly say how we did connect. Because on a previous guest was Meg Matthews, and she gave me this lovely profile. I haven't placed this. It's happened to be next to me. This lovely profile picture of the lovely Meg Matthews.
Oh, lovely.
And then
Meg.
I got a message from Debbi saying, "Oh, I took that picture," and then I've been watching her work ever since. And I love what you do. I love the style of it.
Thank you.
So tell me. I want to know about you now. So take me right back.
Ooh.
The little Debbie running around.
Little Debbie was very naughty. She was very naughty.
Was she?
Yeah, she was a bit of a naughty girl, running around. I went to school in West London. I lived in West London. Well, kind of out in Middlesex. We say West London, but it's in the suburbs. So I went to school. I lived out there, and then I left home quite young and came to London. And was a bit of a, the 80s party, 90s party, obviously late 80s. I'm not going to give my age away here. But yeah, I was a bit of a party girl. Went out quite a lot, lots of friends, left school. I didn't go on to uni. I didn't do anything. I just literally partied quite a lot. I did a lot of, events and things like that. And I was doing photography with all my friends. So I was doing lots and lots of stuff. And then with my best friend at the time, we lived in Titchfield Street together in Fitzrovia. And she said, why don't you go for St. Martin's, because you're really good? And I said, how am I going to do that? I haven't got any exams. so basically, I got my book together. I was just photographing like lots of people, like in my day in Soho, because I was kind of a Soho girl, always hanging out in Soho. And I did this board, which was, remember the old Peep Shows?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that? I don't know if you can see this one. This is
I've got a story about one of them in a minute.
Have you got one of those?
Yeah, I've got a story about that.
This lovely little boy. He was literally 16, and we used to look after him. He used to sleep down on Charlotte Street.
Yeah.
We looked after them, and I did these pictures of people, and then I did a set of nudes lit by candlelight of all my friends. It was quite cool. Anyway, I got accepted into St. Martin's, which was amazing. And I went there on fashion and textiles, first of all, with photography. And I did my foundation. And then I went on to London College of Printing, which I think is now called London Digital Communications or something. But anyway, I was mad about printing, and I worked on film. I used to love the shapes and shadows. Black and white is my passion, I think. And I think you really get that texture, and I think for me, going digital was really hard, because I spent so long, my days at St. Martin's and then London College Printing. Then I left there, and then I went on to assist Terry Neal, Ian McKell, some really, really cool people in fashion. Sort of cut my teeth there, really. And then I just went on and started doing my own stuff. But I loved working in film. And then when it all went digital, it really put me back, because I'm really not very technical. I'm more of a creative photographer anyway. Technical is, always I have to click in. But so when I went to digital, I kind of probably stepped back a couple of years, because mind you, I had a baby then as well, so that was quite lucky. So I could sit at home and sort of focus on learning the digital aspect of things. And then I had another baby 4 years later. So I kind of stayed in London and obviously cleaned up my act, didn't party. I don't drink now, so I'm really proud of that. So, yes, 2 years now, I'm not drinking, so I'm really happy about that. And so I really think, to me, since I've, had children, I think I focus so much more and become so much more professional, because I think I was a party animal, and I was really, not a care in the world. And I was just not a different person. But I think that's what shapes you sometimes, because I was really wild. So I think, you see so much, traveled quite a lot around the world, and saw so much, amazing. I got this Olympus camera, right? And I'm going to show you this because it's Olympus Pen, and the reason I love it, and Olympus gave me it to use, and they sponsor me for my foundation. So, you know, I run an art foundation. I run an art foundation supporting young people in vulnerable situations, or young people with might be at risk of gangs and grooming. And Olympus sent me 14 EPL8s, and they sent me this Pen F, and I love it. And I'm bringing it in to show you because you can set your settings like this C1, C2, C3. Now I'm becoming a geek. And it can literally manipulate like images like film does. Right. And I know people say you can't get film as in film, but this is the closest I've ever got, you know, on a digital camera to shooting on as it would look like on film. Yeah. And I absolutely love that baby. I love it. It's my baby. It just sits there and looks at me all day.
Stroking it. I can see you like stroking it.
I'm stroking him. That is lovely. I'm kissing. Yeah. So that was yeah. So it is obviously best to focus and try and get in early, because obviously I'm getting older now, and I didn't really start getting any professional work till I was 37, 38, because I messed around too much, you know. And I think obviously I'd have been a lot further up in my life if I'd have focused, gone to art college earlier and really pulled my socks up a bit, you know. I probably would have got a lot further quicker. But anyway, here I am today at the age of probably retiring. I'm just starting. No, I'm joking.
Right. That's drummed up a few questions in my mind.
Got it, my darling. Yeah, don't stop talking.
No, I absorbed all of that. And I did promise you a story. So I'll start with the story, the Peep Show story.
Oh, yes.
When I was when I was a young lad, you know, we was up in Soho having a little look round and the adventure of Soho. And my mate went in, I'm going in one of these Peep Shows.
Look at that one I showed you, do you think?
It could well have been that
on Berwick Street.
I had more hair, but I could have been that bloke. But yeah. we went in this Peep Show, and I was a bit reluctant. I'll give it all the big one, but I'm a bit worried about that sort of thing. I was a bit shy, you know what I mean? I give it all the bigger, but I'm all mouth. Anyway, I went down in this thing, and he went in there, and I was in here. We went in with the curtains, and then you put your money in, and then the thing come up. Now, I was expecting to see... I was expecting it to come up, and then a film start. I thought we was going to be watching a film. And there was this girl sitting there with nothing on, and then she's saying, and obviously I realised then, the thing is, the longer you stay on, the more money you put in. So she's going like, you know, what do you want me to do? And I went, nothing, and I ran off.
I know. It is.
And she went down the corner to my mate. She went, your mate's just run away.
Oh my goodness. How old were you then, Stuart?
I was pretty old for that. I reckon I was about 21 or something, or 23. I don't know.
It's a bit mad though, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just, you know, the old What the Butler Saw. I think I was thinking I was going to.
It's like an old movie again.
This is a live person in front of me. Right, that's that. So that's my embarrassing. Like,
I love it. That's a good story. That's a very good story.
Tells you a lot about me, that one. Another thing you said was, I love the fact that the way you were talking about film and developing film. And I did. Yeah. I'm not a great photographer, but over the years in hairdressing, we used to do our own photo shoots, and then you know, the budget led us to try and do more of our own stuff. And I had a friend who was really good at it, and I sort of went in the dark room with her, and she showed me how the mechanics of it. And I get what you mean, because there's something about the magic when you used to see that image appear on that plate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
you put it in there, and it sort of starts to appear, and it's like being in fairyland or Wonderland. And you're like, oh my God. Because when you look at the negative, obviously it's the negative, you kind of know, but when you see it appearing, you're like, oh my God. And then you get your little wand and you're dodging and you're burning and you're like, yeah. So it's almost like you're playing with your light, manipulating your light, but you can, another thing is I can stand up because I'm really fidgety. So when I'm printing, I'm like standing up. So you can imagine that for me is amazing because then I'm really in my creative world. Like when I get behind the camera, I think I literally transport. I'm not really in this other, I'm not literally in the real world here. I'm in my world because everything else is like just irrelevant. All I can see is what I'm looking through the lens, and I kind of totally don't even know what's going on around me. And I think that's the same as when I go in a dark room. It's the same feeling that you're in this little room, and there's, I used to stay in there for 16 hours sometimes. I come out like, what time is it? Like dark eyes. And it just, time evaporates. But like editing in digital, you're sitting there. It's so boring sometimes. I'm just like, oh my God, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. Unless you're really good. I suppose I'm not very good at Photoshop and all that, so I don't have the patience. But I can imagine if you're good at it, it's a magical thing too. But yeah. Definitely.
I remember that, and I remember how long it would take, for one shot, and how long, and then you could underexpose it and overexpose it, and play around, and it was. But I think there was definitely a bigger sense of achievement when you got that final finished article. I think. Yeah.
Well, I think you have to work so much harder, isn't it? It's almost like a ritual as well. You've got your negative and you place it in and you're lining it all up, and then you're measuring the length, the focal point, and then, you've got all your chemicals. You feel like you're doctor in your little lab. You've got the red light on, and it's amazing. I'm actually thinking I've got a tree house in my garden, like this old tree house that we built with wood from Hampstead Heath, although I live central, like Russell Square. So we transported all these tree barks, like we didn't cut them down because I would never do that, but it was just, we just collected loads of trees that had been fallen down, and we built this little tree house. And I now want to, because my kids are growing up, well, Luke's 14 and Lily's 18, so they're both not really much use for a tree house, so I might make it into a dark room.
Wouldn't
that be amazing?
Cool. Then you can hide away from the real life out of there.
And I can run away from all of you.
Run away to your heart's content.
They said, where's Debbie? She's not been on Instagram for like 4 weeks. She's in the dark room.
She's rocking.
She's rocking out the room.
And as well, I could tell that you've got a sweet and sour, love and hate relationship with your past. That's where it come across to me. That you've got this, like, you said it 4 or 5 times about, I was a real party girl, and I just wanted to say that, having been that way myself, the fact that and you said it's almost like a tinge of regret when you were saying about, I started late and maybe I could have been further. But you changed your life, and you've gone on a different path. You see what I mean? So, I think it's never, ever too late, and...
No, And I think I was thinking, it's not too late, as in too late, but I just, I think if people are listening, especially younger kids, and, they think, oh, I can always do it later. You can always do it later, but it's such a shame, because when you're young, your mind's so malleable, and it's like a sponge, and you've got you can take so much in. And everything's new and fresh. And I think it's, I think that's why I love working with kids as well so much, is because when I'm teaching them photography and then they show me something, and I'm like, how do you get that? That's amazing. Because they see things in such a different way to when you're that bit older. I'm not going to say old, but older. Because they are, they literally, I'm sure they've got a different vision, and I'm sure you have when you're young, because it's like, you don't have a care in the world, and nothing, everything is possible. And I think now everything is still possible, even though I'm older, because I am like a big kid. Well, I think it is so good to suck that information in when you're younger, because you can go fast so quick. And you're on that sort of, especially if you really want to be a photographer and you really do want to do it, it's harder, especially now there's so much talent. Kids coming out of photography colleges and art colleges. They're so talented, and there's so many more than when I came out, and I came out when I was older. I think it's a real tough one, but there's, I'm amazed. You look on, I don't know about you, you look on Instagram and think, oh my God, he's brilliant, that's amazing, this is good. I was just shooting with a young girl called Maya Strowger. It's Darren Strowger's daughter, and she's studying at Fine Arts in Hampstead. And her lovely daddy bought her an Olympus camera. Anyway, I went around her the other day, and she's doing so much on this camera. And I said to her, you are genius. And some of the images she's producing are like off the scale. I mean, really cool. And she's found this little, she's obviously really gone through the camera. And there's this little program on it that you can go. She's got a fisheye lens, and the stuff she's producing is really amazing. She's like 16. Sorry, she was 16. She got a camera when she was 16. Yeah, really, really talented. So, I mean, it's a lot of talent out there. So much. My daughter's the same. My daughter's doing A-level art. And because she's worked with me, I suppose, quite a lot, she's assisted me. And she's always had a brilliant eye. I mean, she's a fantastic artist, fantastic. But her art teacher said, her photography is something I've not seen. So now it makes sense, because Lily was working with me since she was like 13, loved coming on set. I mean, she came away 13, 14. She did a fashion shoot with me. She was up at 4 a.m. for 4 mornings, and she was loving it. But what she's got from that is amazing experience, because she has now got so much, so much to take with her, as in she's a brilliant artist, but she's got the added bonus of she's a brilliant photographer. Really, really amazing.
So what was your influences from your parents? Did you have any of that creative aspect from them?
No, not really, because I mean, my dad was away quite a lot. My mum's not really his mum's a mum, I suppose. His mum's had 3 children. But no, I think my influence was when I moved to London. I moved in with my friend. I was quite young, and we lived together, and we used to go out with a camera. And I had this little, it was a Pen F, not a Pen F, but a pen. I keep saying Pen F, but it was a pen, Olympus film camera. I had 2. I had the FM2 Nikon, and I had the pen Olympus, the old one. And it was like both film cameras, and we picked them up from a shop in Camden. He's still there, actually. The old boy is still in that shop in Camden. And I used to just go out shooting, and it was my friend Jules, and she said, you're so good, you should really think about it. And I think that was my influence, being out and about and just being free. I was free.
I think creative, like any creative, I mean, funny enough, this morning, I had a brilliant artist from Ireland called Darragh Lynch, and his stuff is amazing. But it's that anyone like in a hair industry, fashion industry, anything to do with creative life, it is that sort of sense of freedom that everyone's got.
It is. I think it's saying that when my dad was away quite a lot, but then he started working on, it was films, and he did special effects. And he bought me my first car. It's a little Beetle called Emily, green car. And I was at St. Martin's, and I'd come back to see him. And I said, I want to blow the car up and make it look like it's on fire. And he was brilliant. And he was he was creative, actually. He was brilliantly creative, but it wasn't like something I saw because he did it at work. But then he came around, he's sitting on this stone and looked like the car, and he did this explosion. It looked like the car was on fire, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that for me was one of the most fantastic times with my dad ever, like him going to work with me, and we were like working on my project. And when I saw it happen, and I was like, wow. And he was like, just take the picture, stop looking at it.
Close your mouth and press the button.
Yes, what you can say. He said, just look at the car, it's going to go up in a minute.
Like last time.
Yeah, it didn't really go up, but it was amazing. It really looked like it blown up. It was fantastic. Yeah, that was an amazing time spent creatively with my dad. I really loved it.
Yeah. Have you still got both your parents?
No, you can tell I lost my dad, in 2012, March 2012.
Right.
God, I still miss him.
Yeah. You miss him every day, didn't you? I lost my dad 2006. And it's funny that he used to drive me mad. Like, he used to drive me mad. He used to embarrass me. All these things, and then you just, you turn into him. So like, I now embarrass my kids the way he embarrassed me. And B, you don't appreciate them till they're not there anymore.
No,
it's
no,
just a shame, isn't it, really?
no, it is a shame. So you think, I mean, my dad, although my dad was away a lot and came back, and you know, was used to that, but it was really when, as I lost 2012, it's like 8 years ago. It's weird. You do, as you say, you miss them so much, and you think, well, I didn't really see my dad that much. I mean, even I left home quite young, and I didn't go home that much because I wasn't really that sort of a home bird, you know. I was more like wee, flying around the world. But I just really miss him. I think, especially this time of year, Christmas, you know, and I haven't seen my mum either. I haven't seen my mum since June because of COVID, because I don't want to put her at risk. And obviously, I've got 2 kids at school, and they're not exceptionally careful in schools, and nor are the children. I mean, let's face it, you can't expect them to be, you know. Yeah. So she's, I'm not going to see my mum probably this Christmas, but I think my sister will see her, but sort of sent her a great big hamper and flowers yesterday, and she's like, oh, I wish I could be with you, but I just, you know, don't want to risk it, really. It's just too much risk for her. Not for a couple of days, is it?
No, it's not worth it.
We have a big party in January on my birthday. We have a huge party.
What date in January?
28th.
28th.
Yeah.
I'll wait by the post box for my invite.
You do that. I'm gonna have a big party, Stuart. Come along.
Yeah, come on. It's going to be finished by then, please.
Got to be finished by then, hasn't it? Please, God, yeah. Please.
You can have a nice virgin cocktail on your birthday.
Yeah, I might let myself go. Yeah. No, I won't. No, I'll just have a. Do you know what? It's really weird. The only thing I miss is red wine. Yeah, I really miss a glass of red wine when I have dinner. And I'm never going to say never, but it is like something that I'm just so much clearer headed and focused, and I'm so much. I don't know. I'm working so much better, like full potential now, and I just feel so much better. It is weird. It is weird how much it can affect you.
Well, I think it's varying degrees. It's such an individual, personal thing.
That's what I mean. It is individual. Totally.
You can't sort of judge one person by another.
No.
It affects us all differently. I came to realise 2006. It was the year my dad died. That I couldn't do anymore. You know. And I'm grateful every day that I managed to stick with it. Yeah. And that was a real testing time, because I was only about 9 months in by then.
Wow, and you didn't break when your dad passed. That's amazing.
I had good people around me. I had I had a program. I had people to go to turn to. And for me, I needed that structure. I needed something to obsess on. And you know, I had enough of it in me to stop me, you know. But what I look back at is, I think I know what I would have been like. I know what I would have been. Yeah. How I would have. Yeah. How I would have probably manipulated that situation for everyone to feel sorry for me. You know, bless him, his dad's just died. You know, no wonder he's going a bit. You know,
dopey.
Yeah, over the top. You know, no wonder he's like, oh, bless him, give him another drink and all that. Whereas my mum, who was very reserved with her compliments, sort of said a few months after, you know, you was a real rock when your dad died. I really, you know, and that then you realise that's who you can be, as opposed to who you were, you know, and that clear-headed feeling that you've got, you know, like, life's tough anyway, but if you get to the point where it's having an effect on your life, it's hard to get all this stuff done. And as we get older, you get this sense of urgency, you know, as you sort of hinted at, that you've got stuff to do, and you almost feel the clock going a bit, don't you?
Exactly. I think that's what it is. You've got stuff to do, and you suddenly realise, like, oh my, we have to think as well, you lose, you know, when you are not focused, drinking, or you're partying, you lose so much time. And memories, actually, because, you know, it just wipes them out. But I also think when you're clear-headed and family, you just appreciate so much more, and then you feel stronger, and that's when you think, oh God, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. So, and I think that's what keeps you going, and it's so amazing. It's an amazing feeling, and it's just like every day, and every day you want to get up because you think, I've got to do this, got to do that. And it's like, yes, you know, and nothing. Sometimes I get super tired, but I just go to sleep for the day. I have one day off and just sleep. You know, if I'm really tired, I'll just have a good day in bed, and then it just revives me again. Whereas, you know, when you're partying, you have every day in bed and you don't do anything. Yeah. It's mental, isn't it? But no, you know, I think life is just amazing at the moment. It's really weird lockdown as well, because I created this project in lockdown with my kids at Sir Hubert von Hartman Arts Foundation, which is now called HVH Arts for shortness. Oh, right. So we rebranded because the name was so long. So it's called HVH Arts, and I created this program and sent the cameras out to all the kids, and they did this amazing. I'll send it to you. Actually, it's just being published because they did their life in lockdown. Because, you know, and it was absolutely, one of the kids, Lewis, lived his life through a Lego game, and he made all these little Lego men, and they were all going to places, and they were getting on the aeroplane, and it was everything that you want to do but you can't. Yeah. You know, and another one was living his life through buildings, so he'd just take like structures of buildings and then make them into like places he wanted to be. Yeah. And then but the photography was, so I did that for 12 weeks and I taught it on Zoom. It was really hard, but they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So I mean, that was one of the, you know, to me, lockdown was quite creative still, and it didn't go away, and I just kept really creative, and the kids produced this incredible, incredible, that living in a pandemic, and we're going to make it into a hardback book. Yeah. And there's about 30 children and families all through it. Another little one was living her life with a rabbit. So she was living like Jamila, she was talking to a rabbit, and she'd get in a cage, and then her mum, she'd be directing her mum as to what she wanted to talk about, and she'd be having tea with him. And yeah, the pictures and the content, it's just fantastic. Yeah. So that to me was, again, it was like, well, lockdown kind of went, and then I think the worst lockdown was the previous one. This one just gone, because it was like, what's happening? Well, what are we doing? Nobody really knew what was going on, but we're all coming out, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'll see my mummy soon.
I see you light up when you talk about the foundation and talk about it. But it's a bit like my work, and I realised that, you know, that thing of doing that throughout that lockdown, it takes, even though you're helping all those kids, but it's helping you so much, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just getting your head out of the bucket, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we used to, like, everyone used to be, what's really amazing is, like, every Saturday, we'd have the Zoom every Saturday. It was with a friend of mine, Paul Romans, who's a documentary photographer as well. It was really cool. And we'd all be looking forward to this Saturday. You know, the kids would be logging on, and it would be really, really fun. And just to see their little faces, you know, just doing something different, and how proud they were of their work, and they all had their cameras. Olympus had sent them their cameras, and they were, and I thought, oh my God, I bet I'm not going to get 14 cameras back in mint condition. But they really did look after them. They were so respectful. They treated them like with love, and you know, they'd be on the Zoom going, oh, like, and they'd be taking pictures. So it was quite fun. It's a great project. Now we're making a film called Isolation Stories. So that's about filming, and Sadie's helping me with that, actually. Sadie's been amazing. Sadie's been coming on set and helping with the kids directing, and we've had some Zooms with Sadie, and they're loving it. And she came to my studios at Kentish Town, and she did a whole set with them, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So we're going to edit on that. The edit's going to be like scrambled eggs all over the place. We've got to make it into one. Something amazing. That'd be great. Good luck with that. I know. I am thinking, oh my God, let's get started. Yeah.
It's what we'll do, and make sure that we put all the links at the bottom of the podcast when I put it out.
Thank you.
For the foundation and stuff like that.
Thank you.
So, but what was the catalyst? How did it begin? What put it in your mind?
Well, I think the catalyst I was shooting a lot. That was 12. So when did we set up? 2013. where are we now? It's a long time ago, wasn't it? 2013. I can't count. See, my maths is gone. 7 years ago?
7.
No, we set up, sorry, we set the foundation up because I was shooting quite a lot of big celebrities and big actors and big artists. And my husband's unknown great-great-grandfather yet with the DNA, because he was adopted, not my husband's father was adopted, and we found out that was a very renowned portrait artist, Victorian artist called Sir Hubert von Herkomer.
Oh.
And he was the most amazing, prolific artist. He's in the Tate, he's in the National Portrait, and we didn't even know that he was connected to Mark, my husband. And then what happened then was we went to Bushey. He had a museum in Bushey where they've got all his works. And he grew up in Bushey. He's a German artist, but he moved to Bushey when he was about 10 or 12. And basically, he set up a foundation for people that had a gift in the arts, but yeah, obviously back in Victorian times couldn't afford to paint. He got a scholarship to Kensington Arts College, and he wasn't from a rich family, but he used to paint these, rich, amazing, beautiful people, lords and ladies, and then he'd give back to the poor. So he wanted to teach them, and he had a school of the arts. And then the Tottenham riots occurred, and then that was when I said something's got to be done, because these kids, like, they've got nothing to do. No one's really thinking about what's going on. How are we going to do this? So I set up the foundation, so Hubert von Herkomer Arts Foundation, at that time, because I wanted to replicate that sort of work and that ethos. And also, he's kind of part of my family because of my son's from, that DNA. And then I had my first exhibition at the Strand Gallery, and every photo or every picture, so like Helen McCrory, Damian Lewis, Paul Weller, James Purefoy, Kate Moore, Sadie Frost, Francis Raffel, every image I sell 100% goes to the foundation.
Right.
Because they're already taken, and then most of them have become very good friends of mine, and they've actually signed off that I can sell the images as long as that money goes straight to the foundation.
Yeah.
So every time it's sold, it does. If there's an image sold, it goes from the exhibition, so it's all catalogued. So every year I have an exhibition to show the work. So my next exhibition is called Do Not Disturb, and that will be of lots of people in the bath in different shapes and forms. And all those images will be sold to promote the charity and go to the foundation. So yeah, so far I've got a nice little collection coming.
I'd love to assist you on that one.
You'll have to assist me on the next one, Stuart. Yeah, you'll definitely get your VIP invite on that one.
That image you had of my brain don't work sometimes. Is it Helen McCrory? Helen McCrory,
yeah.
McCrory. That image, beautiful, of that silhouette.
That's Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, it's just she's looking, yeah. But I think, and then this is a victim of that type of work. Our patron is Lena Healy, and it's a massive bank of work. But it's once they could do something iconic like Game of Thrones or with the Peaky Blinders, it's almost like they forget of all the other stuff that they do. But
I know. Oh, Helen is an amazing, the most amazing woman. I think she just evolved light just around her. Whenever you talk to her, she's just this light, and she's just the most down to earth. She comes to the gallery, she talks to the kids. I remember when I first got my little gallery, it's in Queen's Crescent, and you feel like, God, it's like nobody really, I didn't even know it existed, and I used to live the other side of it for 10 years. It was really bizarre. And I had this little gallery, and it's in the middle of the estates in Queen's Crescent. And when I first moved in, she's like, I'm going to bring Gully and Mal on. And she came along, and they were lying on the floor sketching, and it was such an amazing, she's so cool. She's so real, and she's just so super, super beautiful. Like, she is amazing. I just adore her, actually. Love her.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think what it is a certain thing with celebrity that, they're just, what did someone say to me the other day? Oh, good friend of mine, Stu, he said, they're just bones and skin. We're all just bones and skin. you know, and I like that.
I know. That's true. I mean, everyone is bone. It's very true. And I mean, and it's really weird. I think the most iconic actors and the most people that are really up there are the most natural and the most down to earth. And they're the ones that just don't have a stick up their bottom, so to speak. They are so cool. And then it's some other people that kind of really are not. I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, you know, other people sometimes that you think, why are you like that? You know, why are you such a deep? What's going on with you? Yeah. You know, and I just don't understand it, because we're all people. You know, whether you're an icon, whether you're not an icon, and I think you shouldn't be thinking. Obviously, do you know what? It's like Kate Moss. She's amazingly down to earth, so real, and she's just a beautiful person. Sadie's a beautiful person. There's Meg and Frances, and they've all done so many amazing things. Yeah. Like Damian Lewis, it's like you'd think you'd known him for years. He's just the most cool, down to earth guy ever. Yeah. And it is weird, but yeah, they are skin and bones, aren't they? But they're so talented. Yes. So talented.
I remember with young Megan here.
I love Meg.
I know everything about menopause now.
God, she's helping me. You couldn't believe it, but I'm having one.
Yeah, I know so much now. I'm having a menopause. I have hot flashes. But she's great. But it's
Meg's a force of nature, isn't she? Meg is a force of nature. She's doing so well. Yeah.
But they're actually doing some good with everyday stuff that might be overlooked, but it's a real big thing in someone's life.
Yeah, no, it is.
And like just behind here, the lovely Lena Headey, who's, we say about action, you know, like only a few weeks ago, she was moving to America the following day, and she came to us on the Wednesday to the Whitechapel Mission, and when she got there early in the morning, I knew she was moving country the next day. And I said, look, if you've got to shoot off, let me know. She stayed there the whole time. She's got clippers. She's clippering guys' hair.
Wow. I can cut hair.
We've got some great pictures.
I can cut hair. I can cut some hair. I went to hairdressing college once. Well, for 2 months.
You've got to come down. You've got to come to the mission. Yeah, you've got to come. You closet hairdresser, you can all come.
I love it.
Brilliant. And you know, like there again,
so Lena was cutting with she was raising the hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she done some cuts.
Wow.
And she, you know, like she just had so much time for people, and she wasn't in a rush. And then she finally, you know, she left, and then you know, the next day she was moving, not just moving house, she was moving country. So how generous to give that time.
Amazing,
you know.
amazing, Patron, amazing.
But you would love it. You'd have to come. You'd have to come at some point, because
I'd love to.
You know, like your photographers are people, you know, imagery people, and there's nothing more all encompassing than the people we meet, the homeless people. You know, they've got such stories on their face and such stories in their eyes, and you know, I know a couple. We've got, funny enough, I'm at the mission in the morning, and I've got a great photographer, Jack Eames, who's come in, and there's been 3 or 4 really, really good photographers, and they're thinking of doing like a table book.
I'd like to do that. I'll come down one day and do some shots.
I think the idea is more than one photographer. So it's a collective of different people, because they all sit slightly different and work slightly different. So we're looking forward to that. But so where is the future for your photography and your journey? Where do you see it going next?
I mean, I'm really, at the moment, I'm really happy with my photography where I am, because it doesn't take me out of the country, and I don't want to go out of the country until my kids are at uni. I mean, Luke's 14, and I think it's really important. I mean, people think, oh, when your kids are teenagers, you know, they're all grown up. They're not. It's the most important time. You need to be with them, and they need so much, you know, nurturing still and advice. So I think once Luke's kind of grown up, about another 4 or 5 years, when he may be at uni, I think I might probably go. I'm going to go over to LA, because I've got some friends over there, and there were some studios that were interested in using me, and an agency 2 years ago. but I don't want to make that journey yet. And I don't, and I, not that because I'm, what's the word? I don't want to be away from my kids or my family. And I know once you start doing that journey and you sign up with LA or New York, I mean, it was a bit like, I shot Ed O'Neill at Fox Studios and Sofia Vergara. And they were like, well, why don't you stay? We'll get you an agency and Fox can use you, blah, blah, blah. I said, I can't. I was only there 2 weeks and I got like some really cool work and met some really cool people. And I would have loved to have done, because I was behind my camera and I was like, oh, I didn't have anything going on. But as soon as I put my camera down, I realized, no, you're a mum, you've got 2 children, you've got a husband, you've got to go home. And I know that would do that to me, because once I'm in my moment, it's addictive. It's like, oh my God, I'm there. So I will do that in 5 years' time. I probably will go and stay in LA for a while and get an agency out there again. But for now, I want to stay here. I've got an agent here. I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I'm doing loads of portraits, and I'm also CEO, as you know, of the HVH Arts Foundation, which takes up most of my time as well. So really, I'm using my job to feed my foundation, if that makes sense, because I can see so much help needed still where I'm working over at Queen's Crescent and Camden, Mansfield Road and Islington, all around London. There's a big need to support kids, and I do see the light at the end of the tunnel, because I'm already helping this teenage music mentoring project. I'm helping about 12 kids at the moment, and I've been doing it for a year now. We're at risk of gangs, and I've already seen a positive step in a year.
Yeah.
And I know if I continue that journey with them, they're now 14, I can continue that for 2 years. I know they won't end up being street dealers. I know they're going to do something really cool with their lives. So that's really where I'm going at the moment.
That's like a miracle, isn't it? That is just, you can't go for the numbers, but then to get a few little diamonds.
I got 12. It's hard enough to get. I mean, that's after a year, and that's all positive work that's been doing. But people go, oh, that's not many, 12, but it's a lot when you know how hard it is, right? And when kids at 12, 13, 14 are going on their bikes and they got 400 quid cash in their pocket, it's very hard to not make them do that. It's tough.
This is the realities. This is what people don't, they don't really understand sometimes. Is that the draw of like going to college, slogging it out, not having much money, to the draw of like, 10 minutes, 200 quid, 10 minutes. And that's really attractive to young people of this age.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it's quite attractive to a lot of people anyway, isn't it, when you think about it? But it's a bit like, but they don't get, they kind of don't get, they get not sort of, they have to work for their money, but they kind of, when they've got their week's money and they're showing it off, and I said, you won't be showing that off when you get caught, but they don't see it like that, so it's quite hard. But they're really lovely kids. They're really lovely kids. They're deep. They've got a lot of depth to them. And, they just need people to believe in them, because they're not as lucky as, well, I suppose my kids. They don't have mum and dad that go, yeah, that's great. You're going to do this, and you're going to academy, and you're going to go to art college, and da-da-da-da. They probably look after their parents sometimes, most of the time, actually. So they're the breadwinners, and that's hard. And that's reality over there. So it's tough.
It's, there's a guy on my podcast quite a few episodes back, called Paul Hannaford. I'd urge you to listen. Oh, it wasn't watching then. You could to listen to that one. He's an amazing guy, and it's Paul Hannaford. Hannaford. He's a guy I've known in recovery for many years.
Okay.
And he goes out to school. He was a real class 1 naughty boy.
Yeah.
He looks the part. He used to be the part, but he's changed his life. And what he does, he goes into schools and he talks about knife crime, gun crime, gangs, and all of that.
Maybe I could get his details off you, actually, anyway, because it might be nice that I could talk to him, because it kind of connects with quite a lot of work we're doing.
He's just written a book this week, I think it came out on Amazon. His book, But the interesting thing I find is it's relevant to yours, is that when he first started going, headmaster would approach him and say, "We've got a problem with our 16-year-olds. Can you come and talk to our 16-year-olds?" And he'd say, "Look, no, I need to talk to your 11-year-olds."
Exactly. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Because
Yeah.
that's what I am trying to say to this youth task safety force trust anyway in Camden. And I said, "You're going from the wrong age." They're saying, "No, it's got to be 16 to 24. I said, no. It's got to be 11 to 16, because by the time they're 16, they're used to earning a lot of money, and you can't stop that. And you can try, but it's not until they've been away and but caught, then they think about it. But what we don't want them is going away. So prevention is better than cure. It's the same old adage, isn't it? It's like, you know, prevent. But no, it seems like everyone wants to get it and then try and stop it. But no, we've got to try and help them from the very beginning. And that's 11 years old is the key age for when it all starts. Year 7. Exactly.
Yeah, you love him. Like I'll have to hook you
I love him already. I love him already.
Yeah. And it was funny because I've spent, I said this to him, he went on my podcast, I spent many, many years doing, because I've done the last 6 years homeless, but probably the last 12 years I've been doing with alcohol addiction and drugs and things like that. And my kids, he went to their school, and he'd done his talk at their school, and they come on and went, "Dad, this guy come to our school today is Paul Hannaford." I goes, "I know Paul, it's a mate of mine." "What, you know him? What, you know him?" And I goes, he said this, and he said this, and he said this. And I was getting a bit, I've been saying that for years. What
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Don't listen to your dad.
No, mine don't. They don't. That's like, you know, that's the same thing, isn't it? The same, like, I now realise when I think about, oh, my mum said that, and I used to think, you don't know what you're talking about. But it all comes back around when you're much older. You think, oh, now I understand what she meant. I know.
So your sort of forward plan is that maybe when the kids are older, and I do understand that. I do think it's because I think actually it makes me think that it's relevant to when you were very, very young and went and lived with someone. And I've said this recently, that our children are going to be younger and dependent for longer, because at that time, I moved in with a girl at 19. We set up home together at 19. We ended up getting married and have a baby. That didn't work, but we were so young, 19.
I left home at
18.
No.
You know, kids can't even think of doing that now. There's no way they can do that.
No, they're just too snowflakes, aren't they? We'd like, oh, I want to go for my baby. But I do love it. I think that's probably why they're like that, because that we just went out and did it. Yeah.
Yeah. But financially we could as well, because now
that's what I'm saying, they can't afford to now. Come on, let's look at house prices or rent even. I don't think, you know, if I had to get back on that train now, I mean, I'm buying still, but I mean, I bought my house years and years and years ago when you didn't have to prove you earned so much money.
Yeah. I love
and you just got it like, oh, I know, man, you can.
Yeah.
And basically, if I had to get a mortgage now for my house, I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's gone up so much. Do you know what I mean? And because I just don't earn that money. You know what I mean? I don't earn the amount of money that my house would be worth to get a mortgage on now. So it's weird. It's hard. But we'll help them. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So that being the thing of, I understand why you've got to like just put on hold your other plans, because they're going to need you for that bit longer. So that's your future plans for your career. You want to grow the foundation. Yeah. And what else do you want for you?
I just want to be healthy, happy. I think, what else do I want? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I work really hard at the moment. I think it's quite, you know, just go. And I think I think when it's the same old thing, it's like you think, oh yeah, I want to go to LA, because when I go there, I'm like, oh, it's like a different world and I love it. But I don't know, I really love my life at the moment. I love my family. I love where I am. I love my foundation. I'm at a really good place with my photography. I suppose I might try and push it to get more commercial work. But it's the time, because I'm splitting my time between being a photographer and being a CEO on a charity, which I love. And I've got so close and involved with the work that I'm doing with the charity, and I've seen how important it is. And I mean, it's super important. I go in on the ground, and it wasn't until I did that over the last 4 years that I've let the photography go a little bit, because I'm getting something from my work at the foundation, something that makes me feel, I suppose, I come home and I think, God, it isn't all about money all the time. You know, I used to think, I want that campaign, I want to earn this money, I want to go there, I want this campaign, oh my God, and I want to be that. I don't want that anymore. I kind of lost my ego, like, which is, you know, I'm trying to day by day. I mean, I have got an ego, everyone has. I mean, you must have as a photographer, but it's not half as bad as it was 10 years ago. You know, and I don't really care, and I honestly don't care about making loads of money. I just care about being happy. I care about feeling good about myself, that, you know, that my kids are happy and I'm giving them what, you know, they deserve. And then my kids at the foundation, when I see them, I see their little faces light up, and then I can do something for them. Do you know what I mean? That's really what makes me tick at the moment. That's where I am, and I'm in a really good place at the moment. I think now I'm focused, and now it's all like the drinking stopped and I stopped partying and going out so much. I'm a different person, and I think I'm a happier person for it. Might be getting a bit boring though, I'm worried, but I don't know.
I won't worry about that.
No, I'm not worried about that.
I think life is about balance.
Balance, yeah.
And it seems to be that you've got a good balance, and that's probably why you're so content.
Yeah, I have. And you sound like you're very happy too, Stuart, now.
I am.
You are. Brilliant.
Yeah, more than I can say.
That's good.
Well, I can't think of a better way to finish it. Thank you so much for giving me your time this afternoon.
You're very welcome.
And please keep in touch. Let me know if I can do any help with the foundation. You come along to see us at some point as well. Definitely keep in touch.
Be lovely. Let me know. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye, Debbie.